Hi 8th grade. Here we are today ready to talk about Punnet squares. Punnet squares are simply a way of predicting the outcomes of a cross between two different organisms. So we're going to start today with dealing with the pea plants just like Mendel did. We have pea plants that have purple flowers and there's pea plants with white flowers. The purple flowers are the ones that are dominant over the white. And so we have two purple flowers that they're called hybrids. That means that they're not a true breed. That means if they're a hybrid, that also is insinuating it's a heterogeneous or heterozygous allele combination, which means you have a capital letter and a lowercase letter. So we have a hybrid purple plant being crossed with another hybrid purple plant. Now the way you set up your Punnet square is to start with your square, the grid that has 4 blocks in it, and we're going to put one organism's alleles on the top and one on the left. It doesn't matter which organism you pick to put on the top and which one you have on the left-hand side. It'll work out with the same combination in the end. Typically, I just take the top one, put on top, and the bottom one I put on the left. So in this case, we have a purple pea flower hybrid, capital P, lowercase p. I'm going to take that genotype and I'm going to put it on top. One letter per box. So I have the capital letter P above one box, and I'm going to put the lowercase p, which you notice I give it a little hook to make it look different from the capital letter, on top. And then I'll take the other genotype, capital P, lowercase p, and put it on the left. Again, putting only one letter per box level. Now you simply fill in the grids. So I take all the capital P's on top and go straight down and fill those boxes with capital P's. And I bring down the lowercase p's in both boxes. And then I go straight across with the capital P's on the top boxes. And I'm going to go across with the lowercase p across the bottom boxes. Now, you'll notice I went straight across, I put them where they belong. Now, however, you'll notice here, this one has the lowercase first and the capital. You can write it that way. I typically don't because I always like to write the dominant gene first. So I'm simply going to erase that and reverse the order. And that way they're all identical with one another, okay? So now, once we have this information, now we can look and see what kind of offspring is possible from this cross. We have an offspring with genotype capital P. We have 2 with the genotype capital P, lowercase p. And we have 1 with the genotype lowercase p. So we have 3 different genotypes. So if we were writing a ratio of what we would see genotype-wise, a genotype ratio it would be 1 to 2 to 1. Now, if we want to look at them in terms of phenotypes, their physical characteristics, every single one of these that has a capital letter is going to show the characteristic of purple flowers. So this one's going to be purple. I'm going to put a little dot here. This one's going to be purple, and this one's going to be purple. However, this one here with the 2 lowercase will not. This 2 lowercase allele will be a white flower. So our phenotype ratio, I'm going to write that over here, would be 3 purples to 1 white. Now, the ratios are typically written dominant to recessive unless otherwise specified. Now, if I'd asked what's the ratio of white flowers to purple, then you would have written the ratio 1 to 3. Just depends on what the question is asking of you. Questions? We're going to move on to another example. So here we're still dealing with those pea flowers again. We have purple pea flowers, a hybrid, capital P, lowercase p, but this time it's going to be crossed with a white pea flowered plant. which is a true breed with the allele combination of lowercase p, lowercase p. Now, if you're not given the box ahead of time, it's a real simple design. Simply make a square. Doesn't have to be perfect. Mine never usually is. Just needed to have 4 boxes, kind of like making a window. All right, so now we take the 2 genotypes from the 2 things that we're crossing, put one on top and one on the side. So we have our purple P hybrid plant, capital P, lowercase p that I'll put on top, 1 letter per box, remember. And then we have white pea flowers, where we have 2 lowercase letters, and we're gonna put those on the side, again, 1 per box. Now it's as simple as putting in the letters going through the grid. Capital P is going down underneath the capital P. Lowercase p's going down underneath the lowercase letter P. And then lowercase across and lowercase across. This time we see a much different outcome. We have, again, we could do a genotype ratio where we're looking at the genotype combinations. Genotype, we have 2 that have a capital P, lowercase p, and we have 2 that have 2 lowercase p's. So in this case, we have a genotype that's 2 to 2. Now, if we're looking at phenotypes, that, remember, is the physical characteristics of the organism. A phenotype ratio, well, everyone that has a capital letter is going to show that dominant purple characteristic. So we have 2 that's going to be purple and 2 that's going to be white. 2 to 2 ratio, which can also be reduced, thinking of math, as 1 to 1. You do not have to reduce the ratios unless it, again, asks you to do so. Also, you will notice that the genotype and the phenotype this time are the same. Our first example, it was not, but in this example, they are the same. That can happen. Okay, now we're going to go to a third example today before I turn you loose to do some of these on your own. We have curly wing fruit flies, which would be a true breed. You'll notice 2 lowercase letters, alleles, meaning it's a homozygous characteristic. Also shows that if they're homozygous and they are recessive, that curly wings are the recessive trait. Then we have straight wing fruit fly, a true breed, which is capital C, capital C. Again, a homozygous characteristic. All right, here we go. We're going to do the cross again, starting off with the box so that we can do our Punnet square. We're going to put 1 genotype on top. We'll do the lowercase c, lowercase c. I know they look kind of weird, but again, I'm trying to distinguish them to make them look totally different than the capital letter C. And I've got the straight wing genotype on the left-hand side. So now we fill in the box. Straight down with our lowercase c's, straight down with our lowercase c's, across with our capital C, across with our capital C. If we're looking at our genotypes again, that's our gene combinations. You'll notice that at every single box, we have the same genotype combination of capital C, lowercase c. So that means that we have a ratio of 4 to 0. Now I know math, they would not like that 0 in the ratio, but this is science, remember. So we will have ratios that sometimes show 0 of that particular characteristic. If we're also looking at the phenotypes, like we have in all the rest, a phenotype ratio, where we look at the physical characteristics of this particular thing, we have capital C, lowercase c, capital C showing that it is straight wing, and that is dominant, everyone has a capital letter, so the dominant gene is showing up in every single one of them. So in this case, we have 4 organisms with straight wings. So again, our ratio is 4:0. The only other thing I want to talk about yet before we end today is not only will you have to have ratios, sometimes they're going to ask you for maybe percentages. So in this case, if I was wanting a percentage of how many percent would be purple flowers after this cross, if there was 3 boxes, remember percentages are out of 100. So each one of these boxes is like 25%. So in this case, we would have 75% of the organisms that are going to be, I guess you would say born or grown, would be 75% purple. If we look and did the same thing for the other one, the other purple pea and white pea flower plants, we have this 1-to-1 ratio. In this case, it would be 50-50. So 50% purple and 50% white, because it always has to, again, equal to 100. And then finally we get to our fruit flies, and we have 4 of them all showing the straight wing fruit fly trait, and so we'd have 100% straight wings. Sometimes you'll be asked what percent, sometimes you'll be asked to complete a ratio. Either way, we can make those kind of inferences by looking at our Punnett square chart. See ya.